I was just thinking how nice that is.
I'll just do this for 50 minutes. And we need like a sick voiceover, like Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Oh yeah.
All right.
That was a nice way to play us in.
That was really nice. I was actually thinking like, oh, this is quite nice.
I'm gonna go get a hammock and just relax for a little bit. Hey everybody.
Hi everyone.
How's it going?
We're back. Every time we say we're going to be back consistently, you go out of town.
I know. I'm back now until next week. But the plan is to shoot another one next week.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we're hoping to do.
Well, I talk to people who do podcasts and they'll shoot like 7 in a day.
Really?
So imagine like you and I talking for an hour.
What would we have to do? I'd have to go sit in the car or something just to be away from you.
I think like it's like when they do like interviews and stuff like that.
Yes.
I really don't like those podcasts where it's like me interviewing you for an hour and a half talking about your, ulcers and your warts and how to naturally fix them.
No. It's much more interesting when we just don't have a script and we just talk about whatever we feel like.
I like it. This is, as I've always told people, like this is like your Sunday drive home or like your afternoon drive show.
I think so.
We'll talk about health. We talk about a bunch of things, but
I know we always talk about like radio shows that we listen to, but one that I listen to that I know is nationally syndicated on just regular FM radio is Elvis Duran, and he's so great. I love his team because they always have like an idea of topics, and sometimes they do have a celebrity guest interview, but for the most part it's really just them talking about whatever, and I love that.
Let's start a radio war with him.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
Screw it. So I'm back from just another travel. I have like one more travel to go. Oh my god,
first world problems. Hashtag.
But you were at Austin City Limits.
I was at Austin City Limits, and
Did you have
so
like
awesome.
the flower braid in your hair of kind of like?
I actually had my alternative daily hat.
Did you?
I wore it like
Did
every
anybody
single day.
recognize it?
No, but my friends were
Lie
like,
to me.
"Oh, cool!"
Lie to me.
Oh, yeah, we were like getting stopped. I was signing autographs.
That's awesome.
It was wonderful. I thought Austin was really, really cool. That was my second time there. Obviously, it's different when you go for a festival experience than if you
I've
were
been
just
to Austin.
to go.
Like, where is it?
It's in a place called Zilker Park, so it's right in the center of Austin. It's right off a street called Barton Springs. No, this was like you go just for the music festival.
Okay.
Because you're there every day.
It's like it's like a really drug popular type of thing.
I mean, I'm sure narcotics and things are popular there. It's a big music festival. There are people that are drinking. There are people that are doing other things. You can obviously tell. That's the thing that's so funny about it is, obviously everybody can do whatever they want, and I do whatever I want. I'm certainly not judging. It's just people that go into it, and you see this a lot with younger people that go into it and they're not smart, and you can see people there. They have EMTs
just like
and
drinking
medics.
like as soon as they get up.
Drinking as soon as they get up, or doing drugs, and you see these people walking around that are sweating, that are white. They have EMTs. I mean, you see, unfortunately, a dark side of it is you actually do see people overdosing or people getting sick. They always have EMTs and staff at these. I mean, this festival has like 50,000 people at it, so it's huge.
So that's the dark side of the.
That's the dark side of the music industry world.
Did they have any of those like silent discos or whatever they're called?
They do have those. Yeah.
Did you do that?
I've done it before, but not at Austin City Limits.
I wish I could just translate my face. I just made.
Yeah, he like rolled his eyes so hard his
oh my god,
earphones fell off.
I'll see like people on Facebook that always post stuff about like, oh, we're at Burning Man and we're at this, silent
and they've got
disco.
the silent
they have
disco.
headphones on. Like, come on.
Do you know what's funny is I went to one of those. I actually at Coachella, a music festival out in California. They had a silent disco. This was 5.5 years ago when I went to it, and it's really, really funny if you see it. Like not if you're a part of it,
right? Because
it really is people wearing big headphones like we're wearing now, dancing like crazy. But from the outside, I mean, it is completely silent. So people just look absolutely insane.
And is it all the same music in the headphones or is it different music?
No, it's they'll have a DJ actually playing, but it's only going
Well,
right
it'd be cool
through
if
to
like
the
one
headphones.
headphone was like playing Otis Redding and the other one was playing Drake and
then
the other one was playing like Leonard Skinner. Yeah.
He's like,
the only one you knew was Drake, right?
Yeah.
I've never even heard a song of it. Did you see him perform?
Drake?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw Drake perform.
Now, does he play any instruments?
No, he's a hip hop artist. So
hip hop artists can play instruments.
Oh no, I'm not. Oh yeah, that's true. Okay.
The Roots. The Roots are really
that's
good.
That's true.
They were a band before they were on Jimmy.
I know the Roots are hip hop, but to me they're also kind of like funk and soul a bit too.
So you just want somebody just has a mic.
This is really somebody that just has a mic.
I went to one rap concert. It was in college, and it's like the worst concert ever.
No, this was fun.
Because like it's like the dudes are up on stage, and then you have a hype man who just says yeah like every 5 seconds, and like there's no like drums, there's no guitars, it's just like just playing music from a boombox, and the guys are just rapping half the song because they're not going to go through the whole song. They just rap half of it and then go to the next one and the next one.
You know,
like,
that's funny.
Terrible.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm sure I would assume some people, maybe most people out there, have heard of Drake before, the hip hop artist. And it's funny because he is on so many different songs. Like a lot of like mainstream music that you hear, Drake might be a part of it. I don't listen to
mainstream music.
I know you don't. But for those out there that maybe listen to mainstream music, Drake is on a lot of songs. So he'll do collaborations. So it's funny to see him actually perform, because he will only do one verse of something because he's only in a small part of a song. So it was almost like watching a remix, if that makes any sense. It was like one song, then the next, then the next.
What was the oldest band there? Like what was like the
Foo Fighters were there.
Oh my God, you're so young.
I don't know if that was the oldest. There was a really awesome guy named Gary Clark Jr. I had never heard of him before. He's like a rock guy. Yeah. I saw a really good country artist called Sturgill Simpson. He was great.
Yes.
He was actually real.
Yes.
I don't even like country music, and he was awesome. I saw Alabama Shakes.
Yep.
I didn't even know it was a woman.
Oh.
That was the fun thing, is when you actually see people perform that maybe you've only ever heard their music.
Now, do they
before.
play like full sets or do they play
Yeah. These sets are an hour and a half long.
For each person?
Yeah. An hour to an hour and a half. And all different music is going on at the same time.
Now, what kind of food are they serving?
Everything. They have like these gigantic food truck rallies. So I had barbecue one day. I had tamales one day. I had kimchi fries. I like sort of let my diet go.
Oh. Okay.
I pretty much had Tex-Mex every single day. Even when we were leaving Austin in the airport, I still had breakfast tacos.
Yeah, the breakfast tacos are everywhere. I tell the story about like we went to the one gas station, got breakfast tacos.
It was so good.
It's good. Austin City Limits, huh?
I recommend it.
Well, are they having another one next year?
They do 2 weekends in a row, but yeah, they'll do one next year.
They do it 2 weekends. Like, what do you do?
I went
people do in
weekend
the middle
one.
of the week.
I think people usually only go for one weekend.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like I went for weekend one, and then I went home, and then they give the park a week to clean up.
What about? Do you have friends that like go to all these festivals all the time?
I mean,
have jobs?
I'm one of these people that goes to a lot of festivals. They're on weekends.
It's a lot of people.
I love it. Yeah, but for some people, like for my boyfriend, we sort of learned at this festival that he and I are incredibly different. It's really funny because
you're old is what it is.
We're just very, very different.
Oh wait, you two are different from each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I wake up every day of this and I get so excited. You know, I'm like looking at the schedule, tracking the bands, and he's just more like, all right, just point me in the direction you want me to go.
Was there any point where he was just like,
yes,
you go
yes.
and I'll just...
Well, at one point on the second day of the festival, that Saturday, I mean, you're in these fields and people sit and people stand. It's just like being at any concert. And for a few of them, he was just sitting because it's hot and you walk a lot. We were averaging 10 miles a day of walking.
Wow.
You're just walking back.
Were you guys together the entire time, or did he just say, "You just go, you go"?
Yeah,
ahead.
no, we were together the entire time. It's
Poor
50,000
guy.
people at something like this. If we separate, you're done. You know, like you wait for each other when you go to the bathroom.
What's funny too is like you are like how you are off the air is like exactly how you are on the air, which is like you're shot of a cannon.
Exactly. And as you know, with Colin, he's not like that. He's much more like you. He's much more laid back.
You go to the concert. I'm going to go just go down to Lake Austin and look at it for a little bit.
It was funny because on the last day of the concert when we woke up, of the festival, we woke up that Sunday morning and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. We're going to see Alt J and Hozier and this and like all these bands. I'm like rattling off. And he was like, what time do we have to be there?
What time is the flight?
He's like, what's
what
the
time
latest time we have to be there?
I have this thing like when I go to, whether it's a sporting event or whether it's like some sort of event or anything like that, I always have in the back of my mind, I'm hoping that I'm the only one there. Like when I show up, like, oh my God, the parking lot's empty. Great. It's just going to be me.
No, not at something like this.
Oh my God. Now, do you want more people there? Would you have liked it more or less if you would have half the people there that were there?
You know, it does feel very crowded. It's funny because when you go to something like this, it's always the Saturday day is the busiest, right? It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's like this. I've been to Lollapalooza and Bonnaroo and Coachella. So I've been to quite a few of these. And obviously the first and last day are a little bit thinner of a crowd, but there's thousands of people at these things. So it's like, it can be very overwhelming.
When you go to restaurants, do you like crowded restaurants or non-crowded?
I mean, I have no preference as long as I don't have to wait too long.
Like I love like going in there and like maybe having like two other tables I just feel just so empowered. But then when there's so many people in there, I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible.
I guess, well, I mean, where I live, I'm used to something completely different. Wherever I live, it's always crowded, especially now that it's becoming season.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in South Beach, the freaks are coming out.
We had a cold front that came through. It dropped it,
to 85.
Yeah, temperatures got into the 70s at night. But it was nice because we actually had, because there was a hurricane, as we were talking about, which brought in a lot of waves. And I got to surf almost every day for like 2 weeks.
That's so nice.
It was so great, which rarely happens, and it was nice. The water was a little murky, and so right now we're having it's like the mullet migration. So there's a lot of bait fish that are running along the beaches, and it's a little murky, just because like all the sand is kicked up. And so I was out. It was I think it was maybe a day or two before I left to go to the Keys. I was out, and it was just 2 other guys out, and like I'm a little bit different though when I don't want to go, like I will surf alone. It's just a little sketchy.
That's
sometimes.
one place you prefer to have a few other people.
Yeah, 2. Like I don't want a whole crowd. So I went out to my one spot, and there were 2 other guys out, and I was like, perfect. And these were like older guys too, like older than me, which is, it's so fun because like you just sit there and talk, right? We're not trying to hassle each other. And so it was one of those days you just catch a bunch of waves. And so you'll do this one where I caught this one, and you'll ride the face of it, and then you kind of like, you can either like, I'll try and explain this. You can either ride it like back towards the beach, but then you have to paddle way back out.
Right. I always wonder about that.
Or you can cut your losses and just kind of launch off the back.
Okay.
Or some people just fall. But you can also time it where you can just kind of like launch like really high in the air.
Cool.
So I was riding the face. It was a good wave, and it was about to close out. I launch off the top, and I get in the water, and there's like white water everywhere because it was just broke. And I see a bunch of fish popping up out of nowhere, and it's just kind of like, and it's been like that for the past 2 weeks. So I was like, okay. Excuse me, I'm getting over my cold too. It was disgusting. So I pop back up on my board, and there's fish going, and I see one of the guys I'm surfing with. Like when you're like 20 feet away, it doesn't even matter. You can't hear a thing. So I just hear whoa, 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 whoa. I'm just looking. He's like, and I just can't make it out. And then like I'm just starting to paddle towards him, and then he goes like this. And he puts his hand on his head, kind of make the shark signal. And I'm like, God, what? So now I'm paddling, but I'm like, I don't even know what I'm paddling away from or towards or anything. So it's like, I'm just going to paddle towards him because if there's anything behind me, it's going to, my odds are better if, 1 of 2 as opposed to 1 of 1. So get over there. I'm like, hey, bud, what's up? And he was like, he said, as soon as you came up and you popped up from your wave and you got on your board, he's like, and you kind of like picked your legs up like in the back a little bit. Like I'm on my stomach, so you kind of kick your legs back, you adjust your leash or whatever. He said, bait fish started popping out of everywhere. And then literally, he was like, a shark came right out of the water. And let's just say the microphone is my face. He was like, a shark came right out of the water and went like this.
What?
Like, and I saw his gills and everything come out of the water. And
right next to you.
And literally missed your foot by an inch.
And you did not even see this.
I didn't even see it or anything.
Oh my God.
Like didn't feel
Thank
it. Like,
God.
because they were just like bait popping everywhere. So I was like, oh my God. And so like what like
can you imagine how terrifying it was for that poor guy to see that too?
No, that's what he said. He's like, I'm sorry to say this. He was like, but it was really cool to see. And so the other guy that was surfing came over to us. He was like, what? And so he was telling him, he's like, oh man. He's like, that would probably been really cool to see. And I was like,
yeah, thanks a lot.
But
guys.
here's the thing is like, think of how many times that's happened, and like
Nobody
if they weren't
knows.
out there, and,
you would have had no idea.
So how many times has it happened when I've been out there that just
that's so scary.
Yeah, and so we stayed out there and caught a bunch more waves. And
so
everything.
You weren't scared?
I think no, because I think it was one of those where I didn't see it, right? So just kind of, it was a story the guy told me, so I had to kind of, take it
just
for
put it out of your mind.
Unless he just really wanted me to get out of the water and he just wanted the waves for himself. No, but it was they're out there. I've seen them before, like close. I've actually seen them when like from me to you, like when it was crystal clear and it came right up to my foot and just kind of like circled around. And then he didn't do anything obviously, but then I was like, I'll cut my losses today and get out. But that last week I was like, I'm having a good time.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's crazy. Yesterday I was just messing around on Facebook, and a girl that I know that lives in Miami Beach as well posted a video that Channel 7 posted.
Oh yeah.
So, and it was from the day before of all those sharks in Miami Beach.
Yeah.
And I swear it's so crazy because you hear these things on the news. Obviously you could relate to this to any sort of topic, but you hear things on the news.
Yeah.
And they seem so far away. And then I'm looking at a video that Channel 7 is recording of the beach that I frequent, that I go to, that the water is as blue as your swimming pool, and you can see through it. And they're out there. And they're not that far from the beach.
Well, that's the thing is like a lot of my friends or family that aren't familiar with it, they'll say, oh, well, they don't come in like waist deep water.
Oh,
of course they do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. excuse me. I mean, I've seen a bunch of times out there. Even like when I was surfing that every day for 2 weeks, I'd kind of get out of the water and I'd walk up like the beach steps and I'd turn around and just kind of watch. I was like, and it's funny. I'm literally like now where I'm at is probably like a couple 100 yards away because now I'm 20 feet up on the dune, looking down at the water, and you see like a fin come up right next to somebody, and luckily the guy saw it, and they kind of like made the fin sign to everybody else, but it's just. They're out there. It's just part of it. It's just part. I mean,
I would be so scared if I were you. I don't know how you guys get over it.
I mean, I've never had anything happen, but even you talk to the people that do get hit or bit or anything.
Look at Bethany Hamilton.
She got her arm ripped off.
She got her arm ripped off and still competes.
Yeah, that's but it's part of it. Like I was talking to friends and they were kind of like flabbergasted too. They're like, you got back in. I was like. You can't. I was like, I've lost friends to car accidents.
Yeah, and you still drive.
And you still drive, and it's so dangerous because now you're just worried about other asshole people in there. At 3-ton, metal pieces. I was like, I'm gonna take my chance out there. I was like, it's gonna, whatever. So,
that's a cool story.
Yeah, it was a cool story. It was I like going in the water, and it was so good to kind of finally get in there like every day. So this my routine was get up, have my coffee, make Noah breakfast and lunch and panic over, to make sure I have enough food for her. And then drop her off at school and then just go surf for about 2 hours, which was awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
What a nice life.
Yeah. So the next thing that we actually want to get into.
I think this is a good transition because it kind of talks about seeing your life and what it is and how people put it out there.
I was going to see which story you're going to go with right here. No, absolutely. So this next section is like a lifetime story. It's like
what's crazy is it's so sad. It really could be. So this is an interesting article that I heard about on the news a little less than a week ago, and I sent it to Jake when we were talking.
She really wanted to talk about it.
I really wanted to talk about this story because it's very interesting, and I think it can kind of apply to other areas too. Some of you might not know, or some of you might have heard, there was a woman. Her name is Dr. Kirsten Cerveny. She's a married woman. She's 38 years old. She has 3 children, one of whom just turned 1 year old. And she's a prolific dermatologist out in Long Island. Her and her husband have a practice out there. Beautiful couple. I mean, they're both absolutely gorgeous. Their children, all of they look like they have a wonderful, wonderful life.
They are the quintessential perfect family.
They are. They live in a $1 million home. They just have this beautiful, beautiful life. Well, unfortunately, about less than 2 weeks ago, Kirsten went out to have, a mommy's night out. She took a train into New York City. She met up with some of her girlfriends, and they were going to have, like a mom's night out, just like, your wife, I'm sure does. And my friends that are married, they go out with their respective husband friends or wife friends. So here's where things just got really crazy.
Dicey.
So these mommies were getting fucked up. I mean, excuse me for saying that, but they were getting pretty crazy. They, according to some of the friends that were there, they were drinking very heavily. They were bar hopping, and cocaine was involved. So cocaine snorting. These women were using cocaine, and they're in their mid to late 30s. What ended up happening was Kirsten ended up meeting up with her friends, meeting up with a gentleman who actually he's an Emmy-nominated producer for HBO. She met up with this guy. There's no real information on how they know each other. They've known each other for a number of years. He's also married. They met up, and about 2:30 in the morning, and now keep in mind that her friends and everybody was so messed up that when stories were being recounted the next day, I don't know if you've ever had so much to drink. I'm sure you did in college where you don't remember. So about 2:30 in the morning or so, this bar, cameras see this woman and this guy, her name is Kirsten, and her friend. They actually leave the bar together.
Okay.
Get into a cab.
Yep.
And they take the taxi to an apartment in Chelsea where video shows the cab driver, the woman, and her friend going inside this apartment in Chelsea. Okay? The 3 of them. Hours later, the same building cameras capture the cab driver and the friend, the HBO producer, carrying her body down the stairs of this walk up in Chelsea and leaving her in the doorway. The cab driver, the guy leaves. It was his apartment there later, finding out. And her friend is calling 911, this gentleman. They release like the 911 tapes and all of that. The EMTs get there and she's dead.
She died.
She died of a drug overdose. So, they're saying that about 8:30 a.m., her body was found sprawled in the vestibule. Her feet were propping the door open. And the video showed that her friend and the driver dragged her body down the stairs and just left her to die there.
So you're telling me, so she they had this perfect family.
Perfect life, all of
And
that.
so she decided to go out one night with her friends. And,
Yep.
hey, it's Ted, take the kids, and we're gonna have a nice glass of wine, maybe go see a
Maybe
show.
go out a little bit, do whatever.
And
Serious
now, did
amounts
the
of
husband
cocaine.
did the husband know of anything?
This has been like a shock to everybody. And what makes it even worse is, when they looked into it, she had massive amounts of drugs in her system. Her underwear was found in her handbag. So maybe she had been doing other things. It's just this horrible, crazy. People are now, obviously, their friends, their neighbors, family members are just like,
Do you think she was stealing underwear?
how could that be? No, I think she was probably hooking up with the guy. No, I don't think she was stealing underwear.
I was trying to make it a little lighthearted. Sorry.
So the idea behind this, or the reason that I wanted to talk about it is, everybody is putting so much stock into the fact that how can this be? They were this picture perfect couple. She just had a baby a year ago.
Yeah.
They have 3 kids. She's this big time doctor, and their lives just seem to be so perfect. She died of a drug overdose in a crack house.
Yeah.
The cab driver who owned the apartment was a known drug dealer.
Man, so it's funny because it goes along with what you were saying. We were just talking about right before we went on air, which was how like you said that I just give you like the real story of like being a parent, right?
I do. You always do.
And so like you'll see, like I see so many people like on Facebook, posting pictures and here's my awesome life and everything like that. But what is like the real story, right?
Of course.
And so I think that everything with like social media and everything like it's always existed. It's not new because if you think about it, like back in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, like everybody was talking about keeping up with the Joneses. So everybody wanted to kind of have this front of this perfect family. And
in the 50s, it was like the Leave It to Beaver family.
Right, and you're just trying to be something you're not, and shit steamrolls in the background. Just kind of starts, building up until you get to a point like this. And I think it's a big problem because so many people. Again, I'm getting over this cold. Sorry. So many people are afraid to kind of like tell the real story, and afraid to say that they cried, afraid to say that it sucked, afraid to say that it was hard. And what actually happens is like you keep kind of like suppressing. It's like, no, it's great, it's absolutely great,
of course,
until you find yourself naked in a crack house.
I mean, but it's crazy.
And so you'll see a lot of things like where people post on social media how they're the happiest person and everything, and they've committed suicide. I think we talked about one of those,
absolutely,
a couple months ago. And so it's just you got to be very careful because one, you also want to be, reserve your right to privacy and say, you know what, you're not going to share everything that you're doing, right? But also, it's just like this on the opposite end of it is trying to put off something that you're not it can be extremely dangerous. So that's why, like, anytime, like when I tell stories about being a father or being married or anything like that, it's not all, pearls and diamonds and, an awesome time. So I just like to kind of also talk about the not so fun.
But
times.
you're not the majority. A lot of people only, especially if we go back to social media, only talk about or only post the good things. And they've actually they've released some studies. I believe there was a study that was done in Denmark where they actually rated people and their emotions and moods after looking at social media posts that their friends or acquaintances had said about, I just got engaged, or I'm going on this vacation, or look at the new car that I bought, and how people do respond by saying they feel more depressed or more let down when they see things. I mean, I myself can attest to the fact that when I had an office job, if I had some time, I was killing time, and I'd go on Instagram or I'd go on Facebook, on my lunch break or when I had nothing really to do. And I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing people that I know that are on a beach somewhere or that are shopping, or I see people that are, television hosts like myself, like, oh, here I am in this place. It's very easy to get depressed and then put yourself in the, well, I'm not there yet. Is something wrong with me? Or, well, my life doesn't look good. But then when I post my own things of myself, I mean, unless I'm doing it to be funny or make a joke, I don't post photos of myself where I look horrible unless I'm posting something to make, I mean, I can be self-deprecating.
No, and there's the humble brag, right?
Exactly.
Which I actually noticed I did it, like when I first, and this was probably like 4 or 5 years ago when I was like on Facebook, when I started using it, I'd post pictures like if I was like by the pool with like a beer or
Right.
like the beach and stuff like that. And then I was like, wow, why am I doing that? Right. And so I've actually, at that point, I started questioning myself. I was like, if I'm going to post something, I'm either going to post it literally to be funny, or I'm going to post a picture of my daughter crying because I can actually be different than people.
Right. You can make a joke.
But not, I won't post pictures just to say, look at me, I'm here.
Look
now,
where I am.
I did. Now it was like when I was surfing every day. I posted a picture of like my surfboard with like waves in the background. And I just basically said, I was like, it's just nice to get home. And I even questioned myself. I was like, did I do that as a humble brag? Because I do question myself for stuff like that. Did I do that as a humble brag? But I was like, no. I was like, I was just truly happy to be home.
Right.
And but you just got to be careful with just putting out there. How many times? Let me ask you this: how many times have you looked at your social media or whatever and be like, oh my God, they're getting a divorce?
Of course.
I do it all the time. You see,
of course,
like,
you see things and you're like, oh my God, I want to know more about.
Or here's
that.
another thing: is you see somebody. There's definitely a cycle. It's funny if you look at it. It's people who start posting a little bit, a lot more. Now this person's posting a lot. And then they're gone. What happened, right? And so it's kind of that cycle of like, maybe some good things are going on in their life and they want to brag about it. And then bam, then reality hits you and it's just like not always that good. And then let me get off Facebook because now I'm embarrassed because I said everything was perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
But then it's crazy because then we honestly feel like we're accountable to something or we have to answer. Like I remember years ago, I mean, this is so silly to say, but when Colin and I started dating almost 5 years ago, when we first, how you can be connected to somebody in a relationship on Facebook, and then it links to that person's profile. I mean, this is so silly to say, but I remember at the time thinking, oh my God, if we break up, this is going to be so embarrassing. And I mean, yes, that was my 22, 23-year-old brain thinking that, but it could be so much more than that. I mean, as you're saying with divorce or with the loss of a job or anything, I think that then we think that we somehow have to answer to our social media followers. We almost have to make a, reasoning. Whereas like if God forbid you lose a job or you get a divorce, you don't have to answer to anybody. I don't need to know.
I think, I think social media is good for some things, but
I think that we as a society are getting so carried away with it.
It's doing a detriment to people, a big detriment. I don't know if it outweighs the good that it's doing, which is like, now I have like an audience, now I have like followers, and so now I have to appease them and stuff like that.
Or posting something and thinking, oh, I only got this many likes on it.
Oh my God.
But people get upset about that. And so I guess,
But here's the thing is, and on the flip side, if social media wasn't around, these people would still be doing like that,
they'd be obnoxious just in person.
Yeah, exactly. Why isn't my face in the shopping cart? And why is that realtor's face on there? I need to be on there.
So the moral of the story is, as I'm sure many people know,
don't do crack cocaine.
Don't do crack cocaine, but also, don't believe everything you read, and, don't feel like you have to be accountable to that. I have a co-host on one of the projects that I work on that he's wonderful.
Not as good as me.
No, nobody is. But he is a very prolific poster on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot, and is constantly posting selfies, or we'll work together and he'll want to take a picture after, and like it's fine and it's funny and it's great, but sometimes like it's so much oversharing that I'm always like, oh no, I don't want to take a photo. So this one time he wanted to take a photo of us after we had done something, and I wasn't feeling like I looked my best. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't really want to do it on my skin, not looking, I just didn't want to have a selfie posted on somebody else's Facebook. And he goes, no, don't worry. Wait till you see when I'm done with this photo. He spent like 10 minutes editing a photo of the two of us. I look so good in this photo that he posted, but it's not the reality. I mean, I look good in real life.
I can tell people who do that.
You can tell when people edit where their faces look really smooth, their teeth look whiter. He edited this photo like it looked like a professional headshot after. And I was joking with him and I said, oh my God, you need to take all my photos now moving forward. But the reality is people are now seeing this photo and they're saying, wow, you guys look amazing. And well, yes, we do look amazing in real life, but there are things that you don't see, right? Like the pimples, or my hair wasn't perfect, or maybe the lighting wasn't so great. And then we spend so much time.
Does your co-host listen to this podcast?
No, he doesn't.
Can I talk about him for a second?
No. We spend so much time altering our realities.
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like I've noticed this. You spend so much time like trying to put on a face.
Yes.
That you're literally hiding something
who you really
that's really
are.
Beautiful beneath it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if it's beautiful to anybody else, because like if you truly like, once you feel that, that must sound really kind of whatever, but once you actually truly feel your own beauty, you really don't give a shit what other people say about it.
Of course.
I mean, I just literally spit
You
as I said that.
everywhere.
So, and I don't care. I look beautiful.
You are beautiful.
Thank you. So it's don't do crack cocaine and don't put off.
Don't compare your life to everybody else's on social media, because you don't know What was the name of the article? Dark Realities.
Dark Lives.
Dark
No,
Lives.
Double Lives, Dark Reality. It's like a Lifetime show. So this question came up I was talking with my friend earlier this morning. We kind of like have like a...
This was a very heavy conversation to have so early
And a
this
lot of
morning.
people have asked, like, you know what, we want you to talk about, you know, God and religion.
Yes, a lot of people have. And I keep telling Jake I think it's too dicey.
Let's do it. I'm all about dicey. So we won't get into the specific topic about God, but we'll get into that later. But the question he had, because we were talking, because the Democratic national debate was on, and there's a lot of politics going on, and so we were talking just about in general, and he wasn't doubting Democrats nor Republicans or anything. It was just kind of a question that came up, and here's what he said, and I remembered it, which was he feels that people who have a belief system or a faith-based system, in their lives, are actually more moral and better people than people who don't have faith-based systems or religious beliefs in their lives. And he couldn't see it, but my mouth, my jaw dropped to the floor. So I want to ask you this question. I'm going to put you right on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Honestly, I really feel...
You have to take a hard line.
I know. And I am somebody that I have a faith-based, I guess, background. But I would say that I wouldn't say they are more moral or more compassionate or better people overall than people that don't, because I think that especially in today's day and age, when we see how many wars are waged over religion or how many things are waged over not being accepted or bigotry. I mean, I'm not just talking about things in the Middle East. I'm talking about the Westboro Baptist Church here. I mean, those are people that believe in Jesus that are, going and picketing at funerals of people. I mean, it's crazy. And I think that we're in a day and age where it's not necessarily true. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but if I had to take a hard line, I would say I disagree with that statement.
You disagree with that statement.
Yes.
So I think to answer it, you truly have to define what they mean.
Exactly.
So meaning, so what is a faith-based religious person? So somebody who
identifies as having a religious background.
I don't have him on. I should call him up right now. But I'll put words in his mouth, and he can just take them. Let's just say somebody who has a religious background.
Okay, so I'm a Jew. I'm Catholic. I'm Christian. I practice
or
Islam.
Hindu, or Buddhist, or whatever. Versus somebody who says,
this is it, afterlife.
We could say we'll say two different things, which is agnostic, which means like, I don't even know. I don't know what the hell is going on. Mm-hmm. Or no, this is it. This is absolutely it. And so if we define it as that way, I even hate the word belief. I actually really don't like that word belief because
you have to take a hard line.
So here's what I say. I'll take a hard line on it. I definitely disagree with it because, there's definitely people who do things in the name of
Absolutely.
some sort of, supernatural being, which doesn't make sense, and just killing and hurting things. And there are and here's the thing, is there's definitely really good, if you want to call them atheist people.
Oh yeah,
there's definitely really good.
course.
And a lot of people, I think one term that they're going for now is like naturalist, which is, this is just it. And just, I'm going to make sure that this place is as perfect. I can leave it as perfect as for my ancestors. For my,
predecessors,
grandchildren. No. So I definitely disagree with it. But that being said, I don't think that non-belief or non-religious people are better
not at
than
all.
religious people.
Of course not.
Either. So, but it was something that was just kind of cool that came up that we were talking about, because it kind of goes in line with, I was actually thinking about this. Is the United States ready for an atheist president, right? And what do you think? I'm putting you on the hot seat the entire time.
I think that, in my opinion, the way things are going right now, and I have family members that would agree with this and family members that would really disagree with what I'm going to say. I think that the way things are going right now, I do believe in a separation of church and state.
Yep.
And I think that when we see so many policies or so many opinions dominated by what they believe to be deemed in a Bible, I don't agree with that. And even though I have faith-based lifestyle, I still don't think that those things should be seen and dictating.
But let me ask you this question, which is, do you think that the United States is ready for an atheist, or I even hate the word atheist, like a
non-religious or a non-religion
Yeah.
based? I mean, but our current president isn't exactly as quote quote religious as some of the ones that we've had in the past.
Some people believe he's a Muslim, but
I know.
No, I think he actually identifies as Christian. But let me rephrase it this way: do you think that the country is ready for somebody to say, I'm keeping that private. I'm not giving you an answer as to what, whether I am a religious person or not?
I think that our generation wants that, but
I think the country is ready for that?
I hope so. I'm ready for that. I think that people in my demographic and perhaps yours and our generation are more ready for that. I think that.
I disagree with you. I don't think they're ready for it.
You think that we still need somebody that is faith-based?
I don't think when I say we, I'm not saying myself. I'm saying
the country.
The country, right? Because I think that people feel better about it. They say, okay, well, at least this person.
Well, at least our president won't go to hell.
Yeah, at least this person believes in God, that type of thing. So I don't think that the country is, as a whole, I don't think that they are actually ready for it. I'm fine with whoever wants to do the best job.
Yeah,
but I don't think like the whole of the country is ready for it. So, but there have been, I don't have any hard facts on this, but I have been doing some reading that I think there's actually a few presidents who have been known to kind of not, either disclose or they said that they were a specific religion, but they really weren't. So I think you can do a good job either way. If you just,
in my opinion, I wish that could just be completely separate. Like I wish it had nothing to do with it, just like the color of.
Let's go
because
there.
I don't believe, because I wouldn't want somebody making decisions based on their religious backgrounds if they're leading the country.
Right.
Because that's why with certain political affiliations or parties, I disagree with what they believe in because they bring it back to religion.
No, for the record, you're half Jewish, half Christian, right?
That's right.
Isn't that?
So I can't even take a hard line in my belief system.
That's a conflict right there. Okay. All right. So to answer the question, is to be is a faith-based person more moral than a non-faith-based person?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Love it.
Do you think so?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your friend is kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy.
And I know he's listening to this.
He will. He's the first one to listen to it. I love it. Okay. Did you watch the Democratic debate?
I did.
All right. So have you watched any of the Republican debates?
Speaking of Jewish, I just want Bernie Sanders to be like my uncle, bring me bagels and schmear.
So did you watch any of the Republican debates?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So
how different?
Yes.
Wow. I
yes.
mean, it's kind of interesting. One was really a circus and the other one was actually a debate.
Well, because here's the thing, and I was actually talking to the same friend about this who is more conservative. And again, this is just like, we always have open conversations, so I'm not even like doing finger pointing. Like a lot of feedback about the Democratic one was it was boring and, who are these people? And,
it was boring because they were actually talking about issues.
Yeah. And so, and that's what I told him. I said, you have one that's talking about like a 30-foot wall. I was like, it just doesn't make sense, right?
Or how Donald Trump was attacking how people looked.
Yeah.
Of course, that's fun to watch.
Right, of course. And I even got caught up in it too. I was like,
I loved it.
It's great. He's saying whatever he wants and fun. And I think there is still a benefit to that. Mm-hmm. But still, when you get to the hard line, there are definitely issues that need to be tackled. And so I just hope that I don't know if I think there's obviously some more Republican debates that are going on. I hope that they actually kind of can get. There's so much pandering that's happening where it's just like
they're not even talking about issues.
Yeah, why are we talking about like a 30-foot wall and all these type of things? Let's talk about real issues that need to be, hashed out. And I don't think that that's actually happening right now. And so, and not to say that all the Democratic guys had the right answers or even, it was done the right way, but it was just more of kind of like, okay, now they're actually just talking about specific policies and they're not, calling each other out for affairs or the way they treat women and stuff like that. It was just kind of like, and
I thought I learned a little bit more in the Democratic one, just because I understood a little bit more about the candidates.
Yeah, and even like with the last Republican one, there was substance to it. So you had Mitt Romney and I forget who else was running against some stuff but for some of them had some substance and they actually talk about specific things. And then but you look at the side now, it's like. It's a joke. It literally is a joke.
Oh yeah,
and
people are talking about it.
What sucks is because the conservative side has some really good points. They have some really good policies, but they just talk about these really joking matters that like it literally everybody that is not watching Fox News is saying that's a joke. You guys is this really a joke or is this a Saturday Night Live skit? So so that happened this week. I turned it on. I was watching it. Sure. Like sometimes like do you really want to? They were talking about like the Glass-Steagall or whatever one of these like bills is. I don't know what that was. I didn't know what that was at the time. But it's kind of like you kind of like is it boring? But no, they're actually hashing something out.
They're actually debating.
Yeah. So that was I just wanted to get your take on
I think
that.
it's very interesting where it's going, and I think a lot of that, I find that it's cool that a lot of the bring it back to social media for a minute. It's amazing how, especially with this election that's coming up, how many of them are going to social media. During the GOP debate, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders were live tweeting it, and then during the Democratic one, Donald Trump was live tweeting it.
Right.
And it's kind of interesting how so many people are now reaching, I think, younger generations or more people, but especially the younger generations through social media.
Yep.
I also think that's why the GOP at times has looked kind of like a circus, because social media and the news are just running with whatever Donald Trump says, and then they feel in a debate that that's the relevant thing to bring up.
Right.
I mean, they didn't ask anybody in the Democratic debate, so, Hillary, please explain why you made these comments about Bernie. But then when you're
Right.
watching the GOP, they're asking Donald Trump, when you were speaking about how Carly looked in Rolling Stone magazine. It's like completely different interviewing.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is what we're even discussing right now is not talking conservative versus
not at
liberal
all.
policies. It's literally talking about how
their behavior was.
Yeah, which is it sucks, and that's why I just wish they could actually get down to legitimate like conversations, right, and legitimate policies in politics. So, which we will see how that will pan out. So big news this week today, and we talked about it, I think, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
As we have the Alternative Daily Coffee.
Lucy's Brew.
Lucy's Brew. It's an organic, fair trade blend. And
medium roast, right?
Medium roast. And here's the cool thing is we actually don't, it's not like it's sitting on a shelf in our warehouse and just waiting for orders. We actually roast it on demand.
That's
meaning
so cool.
If you want it and you place an order for it, it gets roasted specifically for you.
Oh, how nice.
So it's not just like we're roasting like,
and then the bags
thousands
just
of bags
sit there.
and they just sit there. Because I'm such a coffee snob.
Yes, you are. And he really is.
You need to have it like fresh roasted. And so you want to actually truly drink it, if it's whole bean. That's why we decided to go whole bean, is you could drink it within like 3 to 4 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's ground, it's really like a week. It's really what you got to do, like a week or two. Yeah. Because think about it, like all that flavor and everything is in that bean. And then once you grind it and crush it out, it's like kind of like all opening up and everything. So that's why we decided to keep it whole bean. So whole bean, if you don't have a grinder, because do you have a grinder?
No, I have to get
Do you have a magic bullet?
You know what I have.
Oh, you have a ninja. You're being serious. You don't have a magic bullet? No. Oh my God.
But I do need to get a coffee grinder.
I mean, they're like $20 or $30.
Yeah, no.
If you already have, like, a lot of people have like a magic bullet. You can even use. You can't use a ninja. It's terrible. But you can use.
you can use a ninja.
You can't to grind the beans. But what you can use is like even like one of those like Oster blenders, like the ones that your mom used to make margaritas with. You can use those. You just literally can't use a ninja. It's like throw it away. It's terrible. Throw that thing away. So like before I actually had a grinder, I would use my magic bullet, and you want to use the flat blade. You don't want to use. But if that's all you have is like the spiky blade, use it. But you want to use the flat one.
So you're saying you should grind only the amount that you need to make the coffee,
100%.
right? Don't grind it all.
Don't grind it all. Don't grind it all. Don't get don't dump it in there and just like put it on for like 20 minutes and come back to powder. No, grind how much ever you need, and that's why it's cool if you use the magic bullet for this. Is because it can screw on, and so you can use however much you want, and then you can kind of keep it sealed so that no air gets to it. Yeah,
that's awesome. I also learned recently, for years I was keeping my coffee in the freezer, and then I found out that you don't need to do that, and you actually shouldn't do that. I thought that you were supposed to keep coffee in the freezer.
No.
And then I recently, like within the past 2 weeks, read an article. I was like, oh my God.
And what are the disadvantages of keeping it in the freezer?
They said it's bad. It like ruins the taste of it. It takes all of like what you're talking about with grinding it up. They say the same thing, that it doesn't extend the life of the beans like it will just keeping it in a pantry.
Yeah. So you need it, but the best is to keep in the beans. Absolutely,
room temperature.
Like the best is like getting it roasted like we do, right? Which is as soon as you want one, we roast it specifically for you.
That's so cool.
And we roast it specifically for you. And then it's usually shipped out within like a few days. And then you get it and, grind just what you need and then make your coffee. It's so good.
So where can we get it?
Good question.
Thank you.
So we can actually get it at thealternativedaily.com/coffee. And if you'd like, we'll give away 5 free bags today.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
So, and just typical thing, we're not even going to make it hard. Just all you have to do is just email us podcast@thealternativedaily.com. We'll send you a bag, And I really want people to try it and taste it.
Yeah,
so
I can't wait to taste mine.
I want 5 people to tell. I want 5 people. We'll select 5 people to tell me how it tastes, what they think, and everything like that. And so just email us podcast@thealternativedaily.com, and just the
Am
way,
I drinking it right now?
the way you have to enter it is
good.
just send us a topic that you want us to talk about. But yes, I want to give away coffee to people so they can try it.
I'm drinking it right now. It's funny because I didn't know that for the past couple weeks when I was coming here, I've been drinking it this whole time. It's really good.
Yeah, the bags look really cool.
The bags are so cute.
Yeah, and so it's just really good coffee. It's organic, and even if you don't like my coffee, even if you don't like this, if you don't want it, you should still be drinking organic coffee because,
Is that because of the pesticides?
Absolutely, because you're spraying pesticides everywhere, and so then what you're doing is you're taking that bean and you're grinding it up, and then you're just kind of steeping it in hot water. So you're steeping some hot pesticides, and you're drinking
that sounds
it.
nice.
Yeah, so that's why we're doing organic, fair trade. This is fair to the farmers and everybody that's involved. We help support that, and it's a Central South American blend that's really, really good. So email us at podcast@thealternativedaily.com. I want 5 people to give it a shot, and I'll give you I'll give you a bag, and let me know what you think. So speaking of coffee and organic, and what's good and what's bad, Megan did some sleuthing.
I did.
And Megan's a big sushi eater.
I am.
And she found out that the wasabi that we typically eat,
It ain't wasabi.
it's not wasabi.
Okay, so this is really interesting. I didn't know this. Now I'm not familiar, as I wasn't familiar.
Are
with
you a wasabi connoisseur now, snob?
Right? See, I guess now I am. I always like to mix a little bit of wasabi into my soy sauce, which apparently, if you're being very authentic with eating sushi, that's not how you're supposed to do it.
You don't?
No.
You
You're actually supposed to put it on the fish and
yeah.
then eat it that way. That's why sometimes if you go get sushi on rice.
Yep. There's some in between.
There's some always in between the rice and the fish.
Yeah.
Well, as it turns out.
Now, can you tell the difference? Will you be able to tell us what the difference is?
I didn't even, most people you're not even able to get actual real wasabi. It's not like you can go to a restaurant and say, with crab, can I have the fake stuff or the real stuff?
The crab, yeah.
I love that imitation.
K-rab, you like that? It's
do.
actually made out of fish.
Yeah, escolar or something.
No, it's not I don't think it's escolar, because escolar is actually fake tuna. You knew that, right?
Yeah.
The white tuna is actually escolar, and it's not a tuna. But the K-rab, I made out like some sort of white fish. But the orange coloring that they think is supposed to be crab is just coloring.
That's scary, and it's so good. Okay, so wasabi. Chances are and they're saying chances are I've never even eaten real wasabi.
No way.
Because real wasabi actually tastes more herbal than the stuff that we get in restaurants or that you can buy when you get sushi to go somewhere. What we've all been eating, ladies and gentlemen, is horseradish with a little bit of food coloring in it. Ah. The demand for real wasabi or the demand for wasabi is so high that even in Japan, you'll find more imitation wasabi than real wasabi. And even if...
Is there a way you can tell?
So they're saying real wasabi comes from grating the root, which is the Wasabia japonica.
Okay. That means Japanese wasabi.
Right, I would imagine. Most wasabi sold in the United States is just horseradish, of course. The Wasabi japonica actually originated in Japan. And it's interesting because it really does look, I showed you a photo, it looks like when you get fresh ginger.
I still think it's like a root.
It looks like a root. It is.
But that's what horseradish is too. It's a root. So I think it's still maybe kind of in the same ballpark.
It's in the same vein, of course. And they're saying that even in some places you might have actual wasabi mixed in with the horseradish stuff. But the real way...
There's nothing wrong with horseradish.
No,
there's really
it's
nothing wrong
good.
with
It's very good.
But it's what else do they do to it?
Of course, they're adding food coloring. They're processing something. So it's not necessarily that great for you. But they're saying that actually for the freshest wasabi, you should get the Wasabi japonica and actually grate it right before serving it.
So, like coffee beans. You should just absolutely...
right before serving it.
I like it.
And interestingly enough, it's the root of the real wasabi that you should be eating or you can eat. But the leaves are also edible as well. And they can be eaten in salads, pickled, fried into chips.
Oh.
Yeah, and for centuries, wasabi has actually been used for medicinal properties because it's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and antimicrobial.
Oh, cool.
Microbial?
Yeah, that works.
microbiome.
Why not? Wow. Yeah. So
The more you know.
The one place that I go, the Sushi Joe place.
So if you're getting a California roll at the grocery store, you're eating fake crab.
Well, here's the thing:
fake wasabi.
Have you ever looked at the ingredients of the rolls?
Yeah, they're scary.
It's like, because you think like, oh, it's just rice and seaweed and K-Rab.
No.
There's like, it's literally like 100 ingredients in there, which is crazy. But that's why I'm a purist.
I like the sashimi. And
I like the sashimi, or just the nigiri or whatever how you say it with the sushi just on top. But if you get all the stuff with like the different sauces and a different,
It's so funny how people will be like, oh, let's go eat healthy. And then they're getting like shrimp tempura rolls and dragon rolls. Stay away, ladies and gentlemen, from that spicy mayo. I know it's good, but it's really bad for you.
It does taste good.
And eel sauce is so good, but so sugary. It's basically just soy sauce mixed with sugar.
How do you know that?
Because I lived with somebody in college, and she used to make like her version of eel sauce. I'm sure there are more ingredients in it.
And why do they call it eel?
And she would mix. I thought it was because it's always served on those eel rolls. And she used to make a little mixture of soy sauce, teriyaki sauce, and sugar. Teriyaki sauce is really just soy sauce with more sugar in it.
I actually make a homemade teriyaki because I won't get the bottles of it because there's just so much shit in there. So I actually make a homemade teriyaki. Write this down. It's really good.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm listening.
It's I don't know the actual breakdown.
Oh, okay, this sounds good.
1 part soy sauce.
Okay.
I guess you could say 2 part soy sauce. 1 part red wine vinegar.
Okay.
And then to taste, I don't know, is brown sugar.
Okay,
just
that
those
sounds
3.
delicious.
Just those 3, and it's
That
actually
sounds
really. It's not thick. There's no like
That
thickening
sounds
agents
good.
or anything. It's just a really good sauce.
I would use rice wine vinegar instead
Why?
because it's a little bit more Asian. Well, when I make Asian food, I cook with rice wine vinegar, and instead of soy sauce, you should try Bragg's liquid.
Oh yeah, I do that. My wife doesn't like it.
She doesn't like any fun. She also doesn't like coconut oil.
I do like the Bragg's. The Bragg's is good stuff. So the alternative daily coffee. We did that. So the alternative.
You'll get real coffee, but you won't be eating real wasabi.
Yeah, we're gonna. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hide a wasabi bean in there for one lucky winner. And then so the last thing we actually want to talk about, which is pinkwashing.
Interesting.
Yeah, I actually have a.
I've
really
been seeing a
strong
lot
take
of
on
this.
I've seen it for a very long time,
Yeah.
and it's very disturbing to me. So here's basically what that is. So as you guys are all aware, I really can't read your phone. It's
I have
shattered.
a terribly scratched
Shattered.
screen.
So breast cancer is obviously a very, very terrible disease, and and there's a lot of breast cancer research and breast cancer charities and everything. Excuse me.
They say every 2 minutes a woman in the United States is diagnosed with breast cancer.
It's crazy. It's
the second most common cancer in the world.
Yeah, and it's scary. But here's what's happened. And so actually we're not talking necessarily about the cancer itself. We're talking about the pinkwashing, which is slap pink on it and let's just call it, breast cancer awareness. And so I'll give my take in a second, but you do your explaining of what you wanted to talk about there.
So they're saying what pinkwashing is they basically say, as Jake explained, it's what happens, when your grocery store aisles, when football jerseys, when car washes, when everything all of a sudden says, buy this product, wear this, and you're donating money. And what they're basically saying and what, we need to look out for is the fact that called pinkwashing, a lot of it is just sort of going with the trend. And most of these companies, not all, but a lot of companies that are just putting a pink ribbon on a cereal box or on a jersey, money is not actually going to breast cancer research. And they're basically just trying to profit off of people.
How are they getting away with it? Is it by spreading awareness? Is that what that is?
Yeah, they're getting away with it by saying that, it's not illegal to say buy this, because some of these things are not even saying on the boxes this percentage gets donated. They're just saying buy this to support breast cancer research.
Oh my God.
So you might see a cereal box and think, oh, okay, that's great. But a lot of it is just, they're allowed to advertise whatever they want.
Yeah. And that's obviously an issue from the corporate side. I see this a lot and this kind of goes back to the social media thing, which is there was a video, it was like a couple years ago, of these guys to spread breast cancer awareness. They were going to go around and put their faces in women's boobs, and so that when people would fight them off, they say, "Oh, it's for breast cancer awareness." So they would use that. They would do things and then just, and if it was inappropriate, they'd say, oh, it was for breast cancer awareness, like hoping to get away with some things. And especially with like the NFL, it's something that I really, really can't stand is that they do. So they wear like pink socks, or they wear like pink armbands. I'm not saying I'm not for cancer research. It's completely opposite, but they're doing it for a completely different reason than really just trying to solve it. They're doing it. I would say they're doing it for a little bit of a fashion statement. They want to look a little bit different, right? And they just, where do I want to go with this? Is that they just they put the pink armbands on, and I'm sure they donate some money and everything like that. But I just saw that this week is that one of the actual player's mom had died of cancer, and he wanted to do something, look at this uniform, put their name on it or something like that, and they either fined him or wouldn't let him do it. But they're really good NFL because they actually want them to wear the pink armbands and stuff like that. But when the player's taking a stand for his mom, that's actually legitimate for it.
Yeah,
they're slapping on the wrist. I just see so many organizations trying to up their game, whether it's up their profits or just up their looks by saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm wearing pink, because I'm supporting breast cancer. Aren't I cool?" And and I got a lot of flack from my friends with this. There is a couple like charities around here, but there's also a couple events that are for breast cancer research. And there's one here. It's like a big fishing tournament, and like you get these massive boats that are all fishing in these tournaments, and girls wearing like these pink scarves and all these big things and stuff like that. And it's all just for breast cancer research. No, these people are just out just drinking all day long. They want to look cool with all their like pink stuff on. And I'm sure that money is getting donated, but that's not what it should be about. And it's I just have a huge issue with the pinkwashing of that sort, which is I'm trying to up my outward appearance by riding on the coattails of the pink for breast cancer awareness, when it's really not like. It is not, and I think there was I read an article, it's like, it's not, I know that pink is like the color for breast cancer and everything like that, and that the article was talking about, either breast cancer survivors or like their families, and even they were saying that they're just put off by it because it's not this like happy thing where everybody's like fishing and
there were some things people were talking about, like how people have been sexualizing it, and they're saying like, oh, save the tatas and feel your boobies, all these different campaigns that they're saying. It's not about a woman saving her boobs. It's about a woman saving her life.
Right.
And so I think that people try and be on trend with it. What's interesting is that other than a specific version of the pink ribbon that the Susan G. Komen Foundation actually has trademarked,
right, the
pink ribbon that you see on cereal boxes, on different things that you can purchase or on the NFL jerseys or whatever, that's not a trademarked ribbon.
Right.
So anybody can put it on anything that they want, and that's how they get away with it. So I had found this interesting article that was saying, other than the Susan G. Komen Foundation, the best thing to do is to actually donate your money directly to an organization.
Yes.
If you feel the need to do something, donate your money directly to an organization. And one of the ones that was the highest rated was actually the Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
Yes.
It's the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. And interestingly enough, of all the money donated that they get, 88% goes towards research and only 3% goes towards an awareness program.
Right.
So when you think about all these different companies or organizations that put thousands or millions of dollars into an awareness program, shouldn't that money be going directly into funding?
Well, that's why I had a big problem last year. I think it was last year of the ALS challenge, right? It was good. They got a lot of money and everything, but it just, do you really like? I had an issue because like everybody just wanted to put their video up there, say, "Hey, look at me, I'm dumping ice water." I don't know if you did it or anything.
I did not.
I did not do it either. And so like people just saying, "Look at me, I'm dumping water," but I'm doing it because of this awareness. And so awareness is good, but when you're doing it to put yourself out there to say, "Hey, look at me," I don't think it's good. It's not coming from a good place.
So it's better. The moral of the story is to do your research, definitely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going to doing a 5K or things like that, but make sure that they are organized through reputable organizations like Susan G. Komen, like the Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
The thing that I can't stand, I actually got it in the mail yesterday from a car company, like one of the local dealerships. And it was, we're going to donate. Here's what it was. I just remembered it. We're going to donate. It didn't say how much. It's like for every test drive that we get, at our dealership, we're going to donate money to breast cancer awareness. They didn't disclose how much you were doing, where it was going to. I mean, it could have been they were just going to buy pink shirts for everybody, you know what? And it was just, it's so slimy because they just want you to get in there, test drive a car, and let the sales guy go after you to get you buy a car. And that's not what it should be about. Like, I guess in the ultimate world, like, I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a rant here. Here we go. So there's like, when you're a company, and so I have a company, and I've actually seen this happen, firsthand experience, and something, whether it's you want to donate to a good cause, or whether it's you want to, or if another company or if another thing has happened. This happened, and like something with a specific company happened or person, and like a bunch of companies rallied together and said, we want to help out. And this even happens in like the big corporate game. So they say, for every person that buys X, we'll donate X back or whatever. I have a huge problem with that, because it is not up to my customers and subscribers and audience to donate to that person or that organization or whatever the issue is, right? That's up to me to take my profits and put them there. And so by me putting it on you, that's me deflecting and saying, I want you to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so what we did in this specific situation, we just took a chunk of profits and donated it to something. Never said a word about it. You're just quiet about it. And I just really can't stand when people say, you know what, and you even see like the NFL or some of these, big corporations say, for every person that buys this ukulele or every person that buys this coffee cup or whatever, we're going to donate X amount. A
portion of the proceeds.
Why? Like, why are you putting that on me?
Why don't you just go make a donation?
Why don't you go do it? I'll support you. And you can even just say, we donate X amount of profits to charities, blah, blah, blah. That, I have a better feeling with that, as opposed to saying, oh, well,
if you don't buy something, it doesn't get donated.
Because here's the other problem with that too, is me saying, oh, I just bought this pink ukulele because it benefits, breast cancer research, so I'm doing my part. Let's be honest, because your dollar for this, $80 ukulele, it might go to, 88% of it might go to research, when really, that's not how you should be contributing to charities as well. It's just by buying stuff and hoping that they take care of it. You should put it on yourself. And so I just have, it's a big issue for me, is when the companies and corporations say we're going to, donate X% of what you are giving us, when they really should just say, we're going to donate a percentage of our, profit or revenue or whatever we're going to do. And so, the pinkwashing thing is
it's crazy how much it's grown over the past couple of years, especially. I mean, now it's like everything is pink, and I think it's important. And of course, it is a time where they spend, it's good to have awareness for these things. And it's just amazing how every month is a different awareness month, but you get to October and it's like everyone knows. It's like how November, men were growing out beards for No Shave November.
Yes.
Shouldn't you just be donating then? What does growing out your beard have to do with
exactly
research for or raising awareness for your prostate?
Hey, look at me.
Look what I'm doing.
Look what I'm doing.
Right.
And
then it's like, are you doing it for the right reasons, or are you just doing it for?
Because you're doing it for the attention, and that's a good way to wrap that up. It's like with the pinkwashing, a lot of people just do it for the attention.
Because it's trendy.
Hey, look at me! Look at me! Look what I'm doing! I need some attention over here. I've always fought against that.
Be a silent donor.
I'm not telling you what to do with any of that stuff. Because that's up to you. But yeah, it's just be careful.
Donate right to the organizations.
Go
Donate
for the run. Go for the fishing.
I did the 5K last year.
Go do the fishing. Wear the pink stuff, but do your own donation, right?
Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into and what you're actually donating to.
Exactly. I'm not even. I was gonna say which one that I give it to, but like I feel weird, but I think it's like a really.
No, you can say it.
I won't say how much or anything like that, but
okay.
What we do is there's actually a local charity here in
South Florida.
That's
where we are.
That what they do is they actually give massages to breast cancer survivors and patients, and
nice.
Absolutely free.
That's so nice.
And so they're completely run off of donations. And so when you donate money, you're guaranteeing somebody gets
something.
Massage,
that's nice.
And so people might have a problem with that one, and like if you want to do it to research, that's fine and everything. But I just felt that one really kind of hit home with me and hit home with like what I'm doing with the site of just kind of like
taking care.
Because stress can really kind of make that thing go downhill. So if people could actually get those,
that's nice.
So, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not saying, hey, look what I would do, but I would just empower people to go select your own charity that feels really right to you, and just don't do what like the NFL is telling you to do or that this organization.
What Cheerios are saying.
Right. Go do the fishing tournaments. Go do all these different things, but make sure you're doing it for the right reason. So. Yeah.
All right. On that note,
man, we always end on a rant.
We always go all over the place too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week with an all new podcast. So remember, we're going to be giving away 5 bags of Lucy's Brew. That is the organic fair trade coffee from the Alternative Daily. If you want to enter to win, just email us podcast@thealternativedaily.com. We're going to pick 5 people. For everybody else, you can still check out the coffee as well as everything else at thealternativedaily.com.
Where can you find the coffee?
You can find the coffee at thealternativedaily.com/coffee. We're also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. So please connect with us there. We love to connect with you guys.
Awesome. Well, it's good to end on that rant. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Yes, check out the coffee. I'm really interested in seeing if people like it.
It's really good. I had no idea this. I always just thought you had great coffee because I knew you were a coffee snob.
Well, I always did have good coffee.
But now it's better.
But
and it's organic fair trade Lucy's Brew.
Yeah, and it's got a picture of Lucy, who is
riding
a real
a surfboard.
dog, riding a surfboard. But I really do want people to try it, so make sure you check that out.
All right, and that's at thealternativedaily.com/coffee.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.